Hi everyone, welcome to Lights, Camera, Action with Allison Howard. I'm your host for tonight, and today we're going to be interviewing 3 different actors that live in the Washington, D.C. area, and we're going to talk to them about different projects that they have going on and different things that they have gotten involved with over the years. So let me introduce them. This is Jarrell Williams, Eric Mueller, and Jesse Robinson. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So first question is, we're living in the D.C. area. How on earth did you guys get into acting? Because whenever people think of Washington, they think of politics. So how did you guys get into it?
I remember back when I was 2 years old, I remember just watching Disney movies, and my mom used to tell me this all the time about how I just would be sitting in front of the TV playing The Little Mermaid nonstop, just playing it and then rewinding it back and watching it over again. And I think I was just so engaged in what was going on. I wanted to, learn all the lines. I wanted to learn all the songs. I wanted to learn all the motions and everything. And from that, I knew I wanted to have a career in entertainment of some sort. But I think acting is just that one area where you're allowed to be crazy. It's legal to be crazy.
Crazier the better sometimes.
Right.
Eric, how about you?
I started as a kid. I actually built a Star Trek set in my basement, and I had a whole TV show with kids from my neighborhood.
Who did you play?
I played an engineering person. We had our own characters. It wasn't the...
Oh, I was ready for you
we
to say
had our own
Spock, and I
characters.
was like, yes. Jesse, how about you?
Well, I still am a kid, so I can't talk about building things in my basement yet. But I was always a class clown. I can remember back in 8th grade, and one of my teachers was like, "Hey, you need to try out for the drama club. You need to be in there. You're hilarious. You're cracking me up, and I have to deal with these boring kids all day." So I went to the drama club, and then I started getting involved with plays, moving up community theater, regional theater, and then branching off into TV and film. So.
Wow. That's awesome. So out of the entire acting process, what's the most fascinating part about when you get a new script, or if you go to an audition and you read the breakdowns of all the different characters, what's the most fascinating part about the entire process for you guys? Whoever wants to answer first can.
I mean, I'd say just going on set and meeting people, being able to engage with your peers, because, essentially those are the people you're doing the scenes with. It's great people. That's how we met.
Right.
We met on a film set, and then, just meeting other people in either plays or film or things like that. So I think I think acting is really about the relationships, because if you don't have a true relationship with the people you're working with of some kind, then I just don't think that the project is going to have real results,
Right. Anybody else?
That's exactly it. That's it for me too. It's really the collaboration on something that's really creative. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm working on this web series, Wall Geek.
Yes.
And so I've been writing these scripts, and then when you get on set and you see what the actors do with it. I'm one of the actors in it also, but to see what they actually come up with, they take your words and wow, what they do with it.
Have they ever made it something completely different than what you might have expected it to be?
Yeah, sometimes they definitely think of something much better than what I
I doubt that.
Yeah. Well, when you get the script in your hand and then you start reading through the lines, it helps you develop your character. And then you play it through your brain, and it's like, oh wow, this project's actually coming to life, and I'm going to be the head of that. I'm going to make this project happen with my character and how I'm going to develop it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so out of all the different projects that you guys have worked on, I'm sure that there have been a couple of key moments that have been your favorite experiences, or the funniest thing that's ever happened. So out of all the things that you've worked on, whether it be commercials, industrial, theater, film, what's your favorite experience that you've had thus far?
For me, playing a woman. I was in this play. It was based off of the Greek play Lysistrata, and it was called Her Sexy Outfit. So Are you
the one they were referring to in You're a Sexy Outfit?
Well, I had one of them. I had one of them, I like to say. But I actually had to go from woman to hardcore rapper in a matter of 15 minutes, because the show had these different types of songs where we made covers off of top 40 hits and, you know, put the words to the songs and everything. And that was a fun experience for me. But I think definitely being a woman was one of those things where I give y'all so much appreciation for what you do, because
Thank you. Finally.
I had to shave all my chest hair. I had to shave all of this, and you know, then putting on the dress and getting the makeup done, and I mean, you look like a totally different person. And actually, after one of the shows, one of my friends said to me that one of his hallmates said, "Hey, who's that girl in one of those scenes?" And he was like, "No, the main character." He was like, "No, the other black girl. You know, she was cute." And I said, he told him, he's like, "Dude, that was a guy." He's like, no, I totally meant the main character. That's not what. I think playing a woman was one of the
playing a woman.
funnest experience for me.
I can imagine. Jesse or Eric?
Well, a fun experience for me was actually one of the lines that I wrote for Pay, who plays this new age coworker of mine in Wall Geek. It's Tara Garwood plays her. And I just wrote, "Pay meditates. We're trying to convince Sam to fund this stock exchange for niceness that we've created." And so we're going to Sam, and he won't budge, so then Pay meditates to get him to do it. And we actually have a clip from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look at the clip.
Okay.
Look, Sam, would you just allocate a little capital to it, just to try?
I'm afraid all of our capital is already allocated.
Please, Sam, just a little bit. Un poquito, baby, Gilbert.
I'm sorry.
I can't.
All right. I'll start you off with 50 million maximum gross position. But if it's not making substantial money after 3 months, I'm shutting it down.
Deal.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So when you did the Pay meditates, did you know that she was going to take it that far?
No, I mean, it was so good the way she did it, yeah.
I would have to say that I had a fun experience. I was on the short film that we actually were in together, The Pharmacist. I got to be with an excellent guy named Matt, and he played my dad, and we were shooting in the car for about 5 hours. And we just had to make light of the situation, just all the humor, because it was supposed to be a sunny day, and it was pouring down rain the entire time. And so we made it work. Director Paula Wood, she changed the script. She's like, "Oh, it could just be a rainy day."
Yeah.
But I remember it took me like 10 takes to get that one line, because he would say something about getting lost in the hood, and I think we can see that in the clip, The Pharmacist.
Yeah, we will.
Put on your seatbelt. We don't want to get a ticket. You still go to the same high school as yesterday? Yeah.
Do you really need it?
It's nice to have. It makes my life a lot easier.
We go the same way. Every day.
Yeah, but we might miss a turn, and then we'd be lost in the hood.
The hood? Really, Dad?
Good morning.
Just a turn, Dad.
Are you sure?
Recalculating.
Every day.
No big deal. We'll just turn around. I got my GPS.
Yeah. It's great.
Okay, so those are great first experiences and everything. Now, in order to get to have those experiences, we have to go through an audition process. And sometimes the audition process can be fairly grueling, as all of us would know. So do any of you, by chance, remember your first audition? Have you blocked it out of your mind?
I'm younger than these guys, so I probably just slightly. But it was for the drama club, like I had mentioned earlier, and I was so nervous, and they were doing The Sound of Music, and I had never sang a line before in my life, and I went up there and tried to sing Edelweiss in front of, and I remember the vocal director looking at me with this just like, oh, that was lovely. but I ended up getting a role as a Nazi soldier, and then the guy who was playing Franz the Butler, he had to drop out, and so I ended up taking that role, and that's when the director was like, "Oh wow, he can talk. He actually talks." So
he can act.
Yeah,
he can't
and then,
sing, but he can act.
But then I worked on the singing, and I've had a couple lead roles in like community theater, like I was Harold Hill in The Music Man, Albert Peterson, Bye Bye Birdie. So things like that, and
That's great. So your first audition was for a singing part?
Yeah, and it didn't work out so well, but it was nerve-wracking.
But obviously it's working out now.
Yeah, now it's like you have to go in with the mentality like, I got this, they're just people. But then everybody knows that last 30 seconds before you go into the door is, everything starts whirling in your head.
Yeah,
so,
I'm sure. First audition? Do you remember?
Well, I mean, just going off what he was talking about, about the audition process and going into the room and knowing that they're real people I think it's just something that a lot of people don't really know a whole lot about. Is because I actually started out a singer because I didn't really know my acting potential. I mean, I sing as well, but I was heavily involved in the choir in my school, and I also have some singing clips and some other acting clips on my website, JeroeWilliams.com. So it definitely people can go check that out. Definitely see a lot of clips from there, and I have some sound bites of songs that I've done, especially from the show I was talking about. But I just remember going to an audition at the Kennedy Center because I'm actually in Sheer Madness right now at the Kennedy Center. I play Mikey Thomas, one of the detectives. And one of the guys that is in the night cast of that show told me something that really stuck with me. And he said, have fun in the audition, but have more fun after the audition. Because I think as actors, we get so wrapped up about preparing for the audition,
That's so true.
auditioning, and then you're so wrapped up in it after the fact that it just helps to have that release of once it's over, it's done. And if you gave your best, that's all that matters. And we know this is the business of rejection sometimes. We're not going to get every role that we audition for.
Right.
But, being able to do the audition with your best and, leaving it behind and getting ready for the next one is a great thing to have. Yeah. It's a great skill to acquire as an actor.
That's definitely something that I remember learning very quickly, and that also you don't want to go into an audition room hoping that they like you. You hope that you're what they want. Because ultimately, there are going to be things that you can't control that are beyond, for instance, let's say they cast 5 brunette girls already and they need a blonde. Well, I'm out of luck because I'm a brunette unless I'm willing to bleach my hair, which I wouldn't necessarily be willing to do. But what was interesting was you guys touched a little bit on how people don't necessarily understand what goes on in this business. Are there any misconceptions that you guys think are just so outrageously wrong that you want to talk about?
There's always that stereotype. It's like, hey, I do acting. Oh, hey, Hollywood, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hollywood, all right.
Not
Hollywood,
really.
Maryland?
Yeah.
Exactly. Hollywood, D.C.? Yeah.
I know, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So it's just that misconception of oh, you're big time, all the time. So,
Yeah.
And there's always that, when people look at it the other way, when they say, oh, you're an actor, oh, so that means you're going to be starving for a while, which is not true. I mean, there are ways that you can be successful in this business and still, pay the bills, do the
Yeah.
things you need to do in order to make an honest living. It's not, it's a game of extremes sometimes. People think you're either big Hollywood or they think you're a starving actor, and it could be further from the truth. And I'm one of the most humble people in this world. I'd be the first person to tell you, hey, I'm no star yet. I still got a long way to go.
I wouldn't go so far as to say you're humble.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I'm
wow.
kidding. I'm completely kidding.
And I was just embarrassed.
And denied. No, I'm just kidding.
It's
He's
okay.
he's
It's
a
good.
really nice person. He's really nice. Otherwise I
from
wouldn't have
Allison
had
Howard,
him here on
ladies
the
and
show.
Terrific.
So, I'm sure that you guys have done a little bit of both of film acting and theater acting. Is there one that you prefer more or less, Eric?
I mean, I love both. I mean, I love doing web series. I mean, it's really what
Yeah.
I love. I've done a fair amount of theater too, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's kind of a different kind of camaraderie where you're backstage, the
Right.
whole backstage scene
And all the
versus
rehearsals.
and all the rehearsals. Yeah.
Yeah, you're constantly together.
Um,
Jesse?
I want to branch more into like the film. I used the theater as like a stepping stone when I was younger, like through school and community.
Right.
But theater, it definitely it gives you the opportunity to like express yourself more than in film or television. You're more like closed in with film than you are in theater. You can be loud and express yourself on stage to all the people.
Right.
Yeah.
You really get a chance to play with theater. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I
Yeah.
love. I don't really have a preference per se. I mean, I love every aspect because I think every film shoot you do or every play you're in allows you to grow as
Right.
an actor in some form or fashion. But I mean, I've loved every experience. If I had to say one, I mean, because I would love to do a Broadway play just because there's nothing like being in front of people all the time, and especially with the play that I'm in now, Sheer Madness. That's an interactive play.
I know.
So you're always interacting with an audience, and it's a different audience every night. And there's something great about that. Whereas film, your audience is the camera. So
Right.
it's kind of tough there to determine, okay, what kind of crowd am I going to be dealing with? But to see the faces of those people, and I think what brings me the most joy in theater is knowing when those people leave, they have an instant, reaction to
Right.
what, they've seen. It's they see it then and there. It's not like, you do a film and then, it takes some time to produce
forever.
and then it comes out and people have their
Right.
comments about it. But I just love being able to hear from people right then and there, right after the show was over, what their thoughts were.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, like you said, sometimes it can be months and then your performance is ultimately judged. But if you're on stage and you bomb, you're going to know. You know immediately whether or not the audience received it or if they didn't receive it. So we've been touching a little bit on Sheer Madness and Wall Geek and everything. So why don't we go through and talk about the upcoming projects that you guys are working on so that you guys can showcase some talent. Jesse, you
All
want
right.
to start?
Well, this past summer, I went out to Los Angeles and I filmed.
Exciting.
Yeah. I stayed out there for a month. I worked on a feature film. It was like a collaboration between 5 different directors. It was like 50 kids, and it's called High School I Hate You. I had the lead. I was a bully, Drew the bully. So I give people wedgies. I throw people into lockers. But then Drew ends up being the softie in the end, who is writing the journal, which opens the film. So it just shows like character depth, kind of. But that plus the pharmacist that we did together, and I'm also doing community theater right now, Into the Woods, where I'm going to be. I have good character range on that too. I'm gonna be the creepy wolf, but then I'm also going to be the suave prince. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have a lot going on.
Well, we have started the 2nd season of Wall Geek. We've
I
done
know.
2.
Tell everybody about that.
Okay, Wall Geek is a series about PhDs and engineers who make Wall Street possible. Because I worked on Wall Street for a few years, so I'm drawing on that experience.
And you also worked for IBM.
Well, we can't. And then we've been doing 2 shoot days, and we have another shoot day tomorrow, and we have more and more shoot days. You're gonna love season 2.
No, I know. I've been watching the episodes because you write, direct, and star in all of them.
Right.
And so I can only imagine the amount of time it takes.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of you know,
Preparation.
different things that are going on. I was looking at like the credits of a film the other day, and I was thinking, all those people are me. No wonder I'm so tired.
No, right? No wonder I feel like I'm so strung out and I have no energy.
As I said, I'm playing Mikey Thomas in Sheer Madness at the Kennedy Center.
That's amazing.
We actually just had our opening night Monday, this past Monday, the 27th.
How'd that go?
It was great. It was good. We had three great weeks of rehearsal. You know, I'm really. It's really an honor when you get a cast of people who, you know, are just driven to the purpose of producing great theater, and I really feel that with this cast. And then a few months before that, I went up to New York and auditioned for the Glee Project, and that was a big step. Definitely taking the steps to go up there and audition. I had auditioned for Disney back in April the previous year as well. So, you know, I've been trying to step up the amount of auditions that I go on now. I had done a short film called Gasp, where me and two other people play fugitives. So it's different. It's funny, the different ranges of roles that I get to play. But right now, I'm in Sheer Madness, and that's my main focus right now. That's running until the middle of June. So
that's cool.
And
so
because of that, I'm now officially a member of Actors Equity Association, because as a part of that, you have to join the union. So that was another big step. So I'm just hoping that, you know, I'm able to pick up the momentum and you know, just grow from it, just become a better actor every day. That's really what I'm striving to do. So
all of you guys, it sounds like you guys have so much going on, and that each of you, I know in your careers, have played such a variety of roles. Now, what is one role that you guys would like to play that you haven't had a chance to play yet?
Wow. One, you know, and it doesn't have anything to do with, I mean, the race, obviously, but I would just love to play Othello once. I think that play is amazing, and it's I actually did a voiceover for that play at Virginia Tech. That's where I graduated from, and that was a great experience in itself. But I just think with that role and everything that role requires, I love doing stretch roles that are gonna take me to a new level. Yeah, I always like that, because sometimes you just never know what you're truly capable of until you take a role like that.
Right.
So that's one play it's on like my bucket list of theater shows, if you will. You know?
Okay.
Well, we're in Washington, D.C., and you know, I think I would like to be, you know, some sort of political operative, or maybe a spy or something.
Work for the
very
CIA.
DC, yeah.
And that's so DC. You're in the perfect spot to play something like some sort of espionage. You could do it. You could be like the wall geek, but like nobody would suspect you of being a spy.
Right.
Make that an episode.
Hey.
Boom, there you go.
There you go.
I could be your CIA agent that comes in and you'd be like, is she CIA? And I'd be like, I don't know. But anyways.
I would have said villain, but then I played it back in my head what I was just talking to you about, being a bully.
Right.
But I really want to do like voiceover characters, like cartoons. Like I've done a little bit of it, but I'm realizing, hey, I can do these voices, and you don't have to look anything like the character you're doing.
Exactly.
So I'd really like to get more into voiceover.
That would be so neat. Now, speaking of getting into voiceover, and there are obviously other aspects of acting and film and theater that you could get into, like directing, costumes, makeup. Are there any other aspects of film that you guys would be interested in exploring?
Well, I've definitely taken an interest in directing. Definitely saw it, you know, as a prerequisite in my major. We had to take directing, and so that was a real challenge. But it was a lot of fun, especially as an actor, to be on the other side, to, you know, direct people and see how things are going. Just like what Jesse was saying, voiceovers, God, love them. That's something I always, you know, have wanted to, you know, get my hand in, and, you know, get a little dirty, see how things go. But definitely directing. I think that, you know, especially as an actor, I think you'd be able to, work well with other people to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And also an actor makes the best director because they know how to talk
They know. Yeah.
to actors and how to communicate with them. Now, Eric, you've kind of delved into the whole other aspects of film already, but besides writing and directing, is there anything, and producing?
Well, I'm going to be, so I've been doing music also my whole life, and I compose and play musical instruments. So I'm actually going to be doing, used a little bit of my music in the previous episodes, but I'm going to really score all the episodes now. And the other thing I want to do is I want to make a 3D wall geek.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow. That's awesome.
Send me a pair of glasses.
I know. How would you be able to watch it on like a computer screen and see it in 3D?
Yeah, you can get glasses now for
that would
watching.
be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to invest in some of those.
Yeah.
What about you, Jesse?
I'm always just like thinking to myself when a funny like instance happens in my life, I'm like, I need to write that down. I've always wanted to be like, after the acting, like a writer. Like I want to write things. I want to write the jokes that people are going to think are funny. Because I mean, I've seen on set what a director has to go through, and sometimes it's not pretty. So I don't know. I really think that writing would be cool.
Writing. Yeah. It would be great, especially if you were able to write a project that you were also directing. Yeah. Because you know what the characters' voices are supposed to sound like. You probably even have pictures in your head to like storyboard it in a way. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so we have about maybe time for one last question. If you guys were able to tell your younger selves, like just a couple words, any advice, what would it be? Like if you were able to go back in time and be like, hey, don't do this or do this.
The main thing I would just say is just go out and get it. Go out and do it, and keep the faith. I'm just a strong believer of faith, and believing in God and just keeping it. It definitely keeps me going. And if I had said that to myself when I was a lot younger, I think I would be a lot more successful than what I am now. And that's great that Jesse is younger and he's out there doing it now. He's out there getting it. I mean, I'm 24, but still, if I had told myself at his age, just keep the faith, keep going, and believe in yourself. Believe in your abilities, believe in what you can produce. And that way you can have the ability to produce more.
That's cool.
Real quick.
Don't wait for the phone to ring. Get out there, start your own theater company, do your own web series. Learn through doing.
Just get out there and you big dummy, why didn't you do this earlier?
Oh no, don't think that.
Because I mean, you're having fun and you're doing what you love. Why didn't you get into it earlier?
I know.
But, I mean,
I'm sure that there are so many different situations where now successful actors have thought that, and now look at where they are. You just need to believe and push and forge your own way, and don't wait for the phone to ring. I completely agree. God, it's so good. Okay, guys. Well, this was great having you guys on set with me today for Lights, Camera, Action. You guys have been wonderful guests. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your stories.
Thank you.
And I hope everybody continues to tune in to Lights, Camera, Action so that I can show you more actors and actresses that are in the area who are looking for work and who want to come out and have you guys support some of the work that they're doing. So everybody keep tuning in, and I will see you next time.